You are listening to the Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. In every episode, our goal is to help, inspire, and celebrate authors' journey to publication by reading and critiquing query letters, then tackle a writing topic we hope you find helpful.
I'm gonna fuck up.
Welcome back to Two Writers Walk Into a Bar. What's up, Ken?
What's going on?
Nothing much, buddy. You guys, this episode, I think we're on episode 19. So we have a little special episode for you today. We do have a query, so we are going to give a critique on that, and then we have a little guest. We have a guest joining us
Yes, we do.
today, so which I'm actually pretty excited about, and you guys might recognize this person. If you've been
Yes.
listening to the podcast for a while, you'll recognize her. But anyway, before we get started, Ken, what are you drinking?
Um, a little bit of tequila, and I'm just about to crack one of my OG, the Grands.
You're gonna get so messed up tonight, aren't you?
I'm drinking some Sunny D with some tequila poured in
With
it.
tequila? Oh man, you got a death wish
Yeah.
or what, bro?
Yes.
He's like, tomorrow I want a hangover.
It's
I want
snowing.
a headache.
It's snowing in Utah after Cinco de Mayo.
No,
It's tequila time.
no bueno. Yeah, no, pass. Okay, it was
Yeah.
so hot and sunny today.
Yeah.
Fans are going. The doors are open. It was sunny and warm. Oh my gosh, I even sat outside for a few minutes. I'm rubbing it in. Sorry,
You're
I
dead
know.
to
Right?
me. You're dead to me.
Listen, I don't know, whatever. But I am drinking something different tonight. I too am drinking a little bit of a cocktail.
Oh
So I went
shit.
out and bought the Crown Royal Blackberry whiskey. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
Whiskey, whatever. And so I made like a little lemon simple syrup, and it's pretty damn good.
Oh, you fancy. I see how it
Hmm.
is. That's
Oh,
awesome.
it's really fucking good.
I
Okay.
love Crown Royal. It's a great mixer.
The blackberry blackberry. I highly recommend it. I saw
Yeah.
this guy on TikTok. He drank it with the lemonade,
Yeah.
and oh my gosh, it was so good. So yeah, but I
Oh
didn't have
yeah.
lemonade today, but I had lemons and I had simple syrup,
That
and
works.
yeah. So cheers, man.
Mhm.
Cheers.
Little
So yeah,
beer, little tequila.
we're gonna get hammered, I think.
We
I'm
won't go
glad
that
that
far.
I'm glad that we recorded our interview already, because we might be drunk interviewing.
Yeah, for
That could be
sure.
bad. That could be
I
really
know.
bad. We're professional over here, guys. Okay, if we're gonna
Yes.
interview you, we're gonna be sober.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Yes, 100% sober, and then we'll start drinking.
Yes, yeah. So
That's in
that's.
celebration.
I mean, we're two writers in a bar.
Exactly.
I mean, even though I know it doesn't look like a bar, I mean, I have a bar sign, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're just gonna pretend. Okay, pretend there's
Well,
people.
yes, there's people all behind us. It's not
Yeah,
a closet.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know where Ken is being held captive somewhere. I don't know.
Yes, exactly.
A
Yes.
dungeon somewhere. I don't know.
I'm in a dungeon. I've been held here for many years. Help.
I'm so sorry, bruh.
Yeah, they just make me write. That's okay.
Oh, well, that's not bad. Hey, that's a pretty good gig.
Yeah, it is. I'm a
That's a
ghostwriter.
really good
Who do you
gig.
think been writing Stephen King since '71?
No.
No, I'm joking.
Wow. All right. So, okay. So, man, I know that I made a promise last week
Yeah.
that I was going to read. This bitch did not read. I'm so
What?
sorry. I, so I did something, and I was having to fix that and deal with that, and kind of took up all my reading time.
Yeah.
I'll explain maybe at a later time, but we'll see. But so I am still reading Curse Cruise.
Okay. That's all right. Sometimes shit happens, right?
Yes. Okay. What are you reading? I know you're reading, listening to something.
Oh, I am.
Did you finish Ninth House?
Yes, I did.
Oh
And about halfway through, I fucking loved it. Like I loved it.
yes. Oh, that's
And
great.
I hurried up and bought the second book, Hellbent.
Did you? Oh my
Yeah, it was
gosh.
really good.
Nice. Oh
Cuz I
my
was like,
gosh.
it's kind of YA, it's kind of new adult,
Is
and
it?
then it felt that way, and then it went dark, and I was like, yes.
So, okay, I know when we were talking about Leigh Bardugo, and I thought it was the new book. The new book she has, it came out, is called The Familiar, and I believe it's a vampire book.
Oh, okay.
So it's not part of the Ninth House, I believe. I believe it is a
Yeah.
series.
There's only two part of the Alex Stern
Yeah, so
series.
this is a new one and it's called The Familiar and it looks really good. The cover looks amazing. It
Nice.
looks really good. Let me see. I was trying to pull it up. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it looks
That
cool.
looks cool. This is
But
what I'm
anyway,
reading right
okay.
now.
All right. Let's
I'm
go. What is it?
reading Malice by John Gwynne.
Okay. All right.
It's
It's
the
a
first,
fantasy.
yeah, fantasy, first
Okay.
of the Faithful and the Fallen. There's 4 books, and then I think there's a separate series, 150 Years in the Future, with 3 books.
Nice.
And my little leather puppy
Oh, that's
bookmark.
so cute.
I know, my
Love
daughter bought
it.
that for me.
Oh, that's cute.
And then I am completely obsessed with this new series I've been listening to. I think I talked about it last week, but Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Okay. No, I don't remember.
Oh man, people know. Like if they know it's like huge, it's massive. It's this big series, and it's basically like it's like a lit RPG, like a video game inside of a book.
Okay, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I've listened to the first 2 already, like just almost nonstop. Had
Oh
to
my
listen to it, and
gosh.
I'm halfway through the third one, which is
God, you're so lucky.
Carl's Anarchist Cookbook. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
You're lucky you get to listen to books at work. Like I can't.
yeah.
It sucks, but
I
yeah.
I just I have one headphone that I can put in,
Yeah.
and then when I do my walkarounds and patrols and all that, I'm just jamming books. So yeah,
Nice. That's nice.
yeah, it's
That's
really
really
nice.
nice. That's nice.
Yeah,
Okay, I might have the good weather, but you have the better job.
I have the better job conducive to consuming
Yes.
media
Oh
and
my
writing,
god. Yes. All
which
right.
I hit over 66,000.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah,
Great. Okay.
I'm close.
Awesome. Okay. All
I'm hoping
right.
to finish in the next few days. I think
Oh
I'll
yeah.
finish it.
I think you're gonna do it. You'll
I'm
do
off.
it.
I'm on call Thursday, but I'm off tomorrow and the next day,
Oh,
Tuesday and
you got
Wednesday.
this. You
Yeah,
got it. Yeah. Yeah, I still haven't edited mine, so I'm still, I finished it.
yeah.
I still haven't edited it yet because I kind of wanted to. So I went back and I started cleaning up my last book. And oh my God, I should have. Wow. Listen, taking a break and going back and read it, I was like, oh, now I know why. Now I know why.
Mm, mhm.
So, I was kinda cleaning that up and fixing a lot of my sentences because I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
I was kind of embarrassed going, "Oh my god, what was I even writing? Like, what does this even mean? Like, what is this?" Literally, I was just like, "Oh my god." So, I was that's what I've been working on and cleaning because I really wanna re-query that one.
Yeah.
Now that I've went back and taken a look at how horrible it is, because I
Mm,
had 2 requests and they declined. So, I'm like, I know that it's once it probably them reading it, the writing was shit, and it is shit. So I'm fixing that. But anyway, yeah, so but I'm hoping to start,
it ain't shit.
editing.
You're too hard on yourself.
No, it was bad. No, it was really bad. No, I can admit when my stuff is bad. I mean, it was like some sentence I wasn't even didn't even make sense. I was like, what was I even saying right here? Like, what does it even mean? But anyway, so it's fine. I'm fixing it. It's I'm fixing it. So,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping that because I became I know I told you guys that I submitted that story to RevPit.
Yeah.
I didn't get picked, but I was a runner up. And the one of the editors gave me a wonderful critique and kind of helped me. So that I've been kind of working with that. Just a small critique, a small edits, but it was enough for me to go back and look and see that, yeah, this needs some work. So I'm doing
Oh,
that. So
well,
I'm
that's
doing that.
good. Yeah.
At least I'm doing that. So hence why I haven't been reading because I've just been really into like just.
Yeah.
But we have a query today that was sent in that we're going to go over. If I can find it. His name is James Petrie. I hope I'm saying that right. James, thank you so much for sending us your query. He sent in his query in first pages. So I'm gonna read that now, and then we'll give our critique. Okay. So I am seeking representation for my crime fiction novel Redacted, a novel based on my work as a private investigator. It is complete at 89,000 words. In 2000, private investigator and former Royal Canadian mounted police officer Joe McGregor opens a private detective agency in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, intending to investigate his brother's alleged suicide. After hearing a recording of his brother and a local public works official arguing over a government construction bid, Joe becomes suspicious that someone within the Prince Edward Island government wanted his brother dead. Before he can make headway, another case reveals connections between the two cases. In the new investigation, Joe learns about shocking crimes committed at the now shuttered Mount Hubert orphanage. Government turned a blind eye to severe child abuse, sexual exploitation, and child trafficking. While juggling two mysteries simultaneously, Joe reveals Charlottetown's deeply buried scandals and longtime corruption. Pitted against the officials as they threaten his every turn, he must act quickly but tread skillfully before they kill the witnesses and bury the evidence. Joe McGregor's independent investigative style will appeal to readers of Nicholas Petrie's The Drifter or Lee Child's Jack Reacher series. The operational details of the police and private investigators' work will appeal to Michael Connolly's readers. The feel of the book is like Robert Towne's screenplay, Chinatown. I began my career in 1997 as a private investigator specializing in child abuse investigations in Canada. In 2001, I immigrated to the United States with my family. I currently own and operate advanced private investigations in Cary, North Carolina. I have two recent stories published in PI Magazine and one in Pursuit Magazine. The full manuscript is available if you would like. Thank you for considering my query. Yours very truly, James Petrie. Okay, so this query comes in at 301 words. So it's perfect in the size because most we know that most agents ask for your query to be about 250 to 450 the highest. Okay,
Yeah.
so yours comes in at 301. So that's pretty good. That's really good. Okay. So, first things that popped up at me that I want to bring up, and then I'm going to give what I think you could add. So at the very beginning, you say that Joe McGregor opens a private detective agency intending to investigate his brother's alleged suicide. What my first question is, why does he think alleged? Like, what makes him think that it wasn't suicide? I know that it's not the next line because the next line you say, after hearing a recording of his brother and local public works official arguing over a government construction bid, Joe becomes suspicious that someone within the Prince Edward Island government wanted his brother dead. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that came first. Maybe that's what started it. I don't know. It sounds like it comes after. Maybe I read it wrong. Maybe that's what started the alleged suicide. If that's the case, I would maybe switch those. Or if it's not the case, then I would say, why does Joe think that his brother, why does he say alleged? Why is he doubting that? Right. And then, um, so we know, okay, so you say he hears a recording and then he thinks like, someone wanted his brother dead. And then you say before he can make headway, another case reveals connections between the two cases. I kind of wanted to know how he stumbled on that. I was a little curious as to how. I mean, I hope it wasn't just. I mean, I understand, like because you say before he can make headway into his brother's case, then he discovers this. I just kind of want to know how he found that out. I'm just curious, and I think it would be good if you wanted to spell that out. And it could be a quick sentence. It doesn't have to be something very long. And you have a little bit of room here to add that. And this, I mean, Ken might have a different approach to that. That's just something that jumped out at me. And then um, so you give your comps. You have Nicholas Petrie's The Drifter, which was written in 2016, so it's a little old. You really want something within the last 3, maybe 5 years. That now the Jack Reacher series, I feel like you could leave that. I feel like you could leave it. It's still, I believe it's still ongoing, and
It's
plus there's like,
ongoing.
the TV show on Amazon. I think it's Amazon. So I would say you could keep that. And then Robert Town's screenplay of Chinatown. So I looked that up, and it's a
Jack Nicholson
movie
from the '70s.
in 1979
Yeah.
about that takes place in 1937.
Mhm.
You were very clear that your book takes place in 2000. I'm not sure if that's the comp. I don't know. I mean, the feel of it, like, I don't know. What do you mean? Like one of those old, like detective, I forgot what they used to call those, like gumshoe detective stories. Is that what you mean? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure if the Chinatown is the right comp. I feel like you could probably there's a lot of detective stories out there, especially, newer ones that I think you could comp to. So, I was a little curious why that specific one, and because I haven't seen that movie, I don't know. And it's possible that your agent might not have seen that movie as well. Maybe. Okay.
Maybe. It's
So,
a big movie,
it's
but it's also really old, so
it's pretty old, but the
yeah.
setting of that film takes place in the 30s, and if yours is
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something that's I snagged on. It could be nothing, you could keep it if you want, or maybe look into see. The only reason why I bring this up, James, is because you're by referencing these older series and movies, it's telling the agent that you're not up to what's new. You're not up to what's new in stores today. And that could be a red flag. So that means you're telling the agent you're not reading the new stories that are coming out today that because you remember your book has to sit on the shelf with books that are written like this year, last year. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to put it next to they're definitely
Within
not going to
3
put
to
it next
5
to
years,
yeah,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, they're not gonna put it next to, The Drifter. That book's too old. It's 2016. Might not even be I mean, it could still be a bookstore. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I know that agents want you to comp newer books because, one, it lets them know that you know what's out there, you know what's new, what's trending, whatever, okay?
Yeah.
This was a big one that I wanted to bring up. You your main character, what's his problem? What is Joe McGregor's problem? Okay, you need to give him a problem. I'm sure you have it. Like I'm pretty sure it's in the book. It's just not in the query, but I would put that. Is he an alcoholic? Does he have a gambling problem? You know, what are the stumbling blocks, personal stumbling blocks that he has to deal with as he's investigating these stories, right? So like because there has to be an arc still, right? And I hate to say this, but Joe comes off a little boring. Comes off a little boring. He's a private investigator, but what's unique and different about him? So I don't know if you watched this series on Netflix. It's called The Sinner, and Bill Pullman plays a detective. And he's really weird. Okay. But he's like he has like this weird thing, like I think he's a sadist. If I know I don't know much about, but I believe like he goes to a woman that he likes to be basically tortured, right? She steps on his hands, she like chokes him or whatever. He has this like addiction to that, right? And then he's just weird, like he's just kind of off, right? But that's part of his character, that's part of his problem, and he carries that with him throughout the series, and it makes him interesting. Okay. So right now I'm not getting much about Joe, the character, other than he's a private detective looking to find out what happened to his brother, which is great. But I want to know, like, what problems that he's bringing along with him on this journey that he has to kind of overcome by the end of the book, right? Like, is it and does his problem make more problems from like if he's a gambling addict, does he have other guys chasing after him that he has to fight off while he's trying to fight off the government? Just stuff like that. So, like I said, you probably already have it there. It's just not coming up with the query. So I would just add a quick, it just could be something really quick. It doesn't even have to be long and elaborative. It just needs to be a quick, um, Joe McGregor, a gambler, I don't know, whatever, alcoholic, Joe McGregor. Just put that in there as part of his personality, part of his character. Um, and then I think Other than that, I mean, you could do a hook. I'm not sure for crime fiction thrillers, if you really need a hook, because I feel like I don't know, I feel like these books are kind of hooky. And you do have the whole idea of like, the child trafficking and like, a cover up. So that's kind of cool. If you wanted to, you could do a quick little hook in the very beginning there just to kind of um, to help the agent sort of familiarize like what's the story, what's this book is about. But other than that, James, I think that's all I have as my notes for the query. Now, Ken, you can might have something completely different, but what are your thoughts?
No, mine are pretty close to what yours are, to be honest, you know.
Hmm.
Um, the main thing that jumps out is the opening. I think that you could definitely put that the reason why he's opening a private detective agency is because he overheard the recording, you know.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of like it
It's
needed
a
to be
little
switched.
backwards, yeah.
Yeah,
Because he would have no idea, you know. He just opens it and then it seems like then he heard the recording.
that's what it reads like to me. Yeah.
That's what it reads to me. So I think you could play with that just a little bit and that would be pretty sweet. And then here in the second paragraph, the same idea before he can make headway, another case reveals connections, right? Like, where's this case come from? Like, does a buxom blonde walk in the door? Or, like, can you introduce a
Yeah.
character that's related to the case?
Yes.
Give us something to latch on to would be really cool. Um,
Make it more appealing right now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Help
So
it.
those are
Yeah.
the two main things that jumped out. But then, like what you were talking about with him having a gambling problem, a drug problem, alcohol problem, he doesn't necessarily have to have those big bold issues. It could be something
Yeah.
as simple as he always destroys every relationship he has with his
Yeah.
family and his friends, and
Exactly.
he didn't get to tell his brother how much he cared about him before he died
Yep.
and how he was an ass. Little tiny things like that. I don't know what your character is or what the story.
Right.
I don't know what his quirks are, but it'd be pretty good to mention him in here
Yes.
to let the agent know about your character and give a shit about your character. So
Yeah. Because it comes across a little flat, a little.
just a little bit, but I mean, there's something really cool here. Don't get me wrong. I love me a
Yes.
good detective.
Yes.
They're
Same.
sweet, but um, so I think this sounds actually pretty cool. If you
Yes.
just made a couple little tweaks there,
Yep.
I think it's really fucking cool. And so that's about all I got to say on it. If you fix those, zhuzh it up a little bit with some of his faults, and then this is a great, could be a great story for you.
I agree. I definitely agree. And I want to say your bio is fantastic because
Yeah,
it really explains that I feel like you're very knowledgeable in this. Obviously, you have some knowledge on this subject. So I know it's going to come through. So that's great. But yeah, I mean, James, you're almost there with your query. So close.
yeah,
There's
it's
just
very
a
good.
few, yes, it's just a few little tweaks. Honestly, like Ken said, just a few little tweaks, nothing major. So, okay, so going into your first pages, um, I thought your first pages were fine. They were good, except for the opening line. And I know on our last episode, I talked about another opening line, but I'm going to give you some examples. Okay. So I'm going to read what his line is. His line says, the frosted glass door bounced back into the shoulder of the young man who stormed into my office, followed by my secretary. Okay, so I mean, I love that. I love that visual. We got someone storming right into his office. That's great. Um, I'm gonna read to you the opening line to Jim Butcher's Stormfront, who is also a detective. Um, and
The
I'm gonna
Dresden
read
Files.
the Dresden Files. Okay, and this is an older series, but the first line still is the. Just
He's
bear
still
with me.
writing it. He's still writing it, so not that
Yes.
old.
I mean, it started. I mean, this particular one came out,
Okay.
but I want to read the first lines. So just kind of bear with me. So this is chapter one. I heard the mailman approach my office door half an hour earlier than usual. Okay, so the first line really kind of sets up intrigue, if that makes sense, which your line does, right? But there's just it's a little bit more like
Generic.
well, James, yours is a little generic, but I feel like with this, it's like, oh, okay, so why is the mailman coming to the door, right?
Why
This
is he
is
early?
why is he early? Yes, I mean, I feel like someone storming into a private investigator's front door isn't that I mean, he probably gets that a lot, right? Which I do believe you say in the first few paragraphs, like you do get this a lot, and the character reaches for his gun, right? Because it's pretty on par. But just giving a little bit of curious, a little bit of something that's just gonna sort of pique our interest a little bit more. I'm not saying that your first line is bad. It's okay, right? Like it's okay. But I feel like you could maybe because you have an interesting character that you start off with that's already sitting there. The character, you have someone okay, you have this guy sitting there that in these first few pages is his wife is cheating on him, right? But he's like, I believe this person is like a wealthy, well-known guy. To me, I was more curious about that guy than the guy that ran in, if that makes sense. So I was thinking I would rather you open up with this guy, this mysterious guy who's like rich. I believe he's I have to go and find it. Where is it at? Because he sent us like the first 10 pages.
Yeah.
And I just printed out the first three and I apologize. But he is he's a council member. That's what it is. Yes, he's a council member, right? So I don't know. I just feel like I feel like if you opened up with the council member coming in, like I feel like that would be a little bit more like I don't know. You could play with it, I think, to make it a little more curious, just make it a little more interesting. Maybe he doesn't know why he's coming in, or maybe he's nervous about the council member coming in because he just found out his wife is cheating on him with his I think it's his, her doctor or dentist or something, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. But again, this I mean, you can keep it the way it is, it's not bad, and I do think that the rest of the story is good. You did have a little bit of, like, an info dump, though, when you talk about your characters on page 2, and you talk about your character, it kinda just stopped the tension in this scene, when he says, "I moved back to Charlottetown to take care of
Yeah.
family matters and stayed longer than expected." It's like those kind of like a paragraph that I felt like just kind of stopped this like intense scene with this guy barging in, another guy sitting there and he's waiting to get his results. I feel like you could maybe spread that out a little bit later. I don't know if we need that right away. I feel like
No,
you
that
could
info dumped. It roared out at me when I read it. I was like, "Oh,
it
no."
was like a screeching halt. It was just like,
Yes. It was
you
like I
know.
was driving on the Autobahn in my Audi doing 120, and then a brick
Mhm.
wall just was erected in the middle of the Autobahn. I'm like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, um, let me see, what else? Other than that, I mean, I thought it was pretty good.
It's well written.
It's well written,
Yes.
yes. So I would maybe just tweak that first line and make it a little bit, but that's just my opinion. I mean, you could completely
Mine
just
too.
be like, throw it away. That's fine. I think it would work, but I think that you have room to play with it there to make it a little more grabby. Make
I
it a
think you
little
could
bit
put intrigue, you know what I mean? Like, you could do like, there's so much you could do there, just a little bit to grab some people, like, like a shadow darken my door and raise voices out there. I glanced at my thing and there was nobody on the schedule, just to add a little intrigue, like this, there's a lot of
And
different
then
ways to do that.
yeah, and then the only question I had too was why was it so important that obviously I know this character is gonna come up, but like I don't know, I just felt like the character that you already had that's in waiting in the office was far more interesting than the guy that barged in. But that's just my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. If you have beta readers and they say they love it, then just ignore my critique.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, just the little info dump there, I feel like you could sprinkle that in a little bit later as the story progresses because I feel like that you set it up in an action and that little paragraph just really just stopped all the action
It
and
did. It could
it
come in
was
so much more organically through, people talking to him, like,
yeah.
"Why'd you move up to the Great North?" The Great White North or whatever, up in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It could be something
yeah,
that's just kind of comes up in
yeah,
normal, natural conversation,
yeah, it could be a
whatever.
little more organic, so it just
Yes.
felt really abrupt there, but I agree with you
Mhm.
100%, Ange.
Yeah. So, other than that, I think it's a great story. I'm definitely interested in like seeing, the secrets, finding out the secrets. I'm sure I
Absolutely.
can only imagine. I looked up the Charlottetown Prince Edward Island because I was like, just curious a little bit about this place.
Yeah.
It's a small little island. I think it's a city. I think it's one of the bigger cities for the island, but there's not that many people.
Mhm.
So it's pretty small. It's a pretty small town. So yeah, I think you got something there. I think it's great. Um, Again, James, we always say if you want to uh, redo your query letter and you want us to take another look at it, feel free to email us again and we'll give our critique through the email. It doesn't have to be on the podcast again. So it's just
Yeah,
and of course, like we always say, if you get agented, if you get picked up for publication, email us back. We'd love to welcome
absolutely.
you back and talk about your book and talk about your process because a lot of our listeners are writers who are curious about the publishing process.
Absolutely.
So, yes. So, thank you, James, for sending us in your work and trusting us with it.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, so we do have a special guest that we're going to introduce. We're going to jump right after this. We're going to go straight into our interview. We hope you enjoy it. We hope that you guys support these authors that we bring on. We plan on
Absolutely.
bringing on more writers. As a writer, you should be supporting, and of course, if you ever pick up any of their books, please remember to leave a review. So now, enjoy our interview with one of our writers. Hey, writer friends! Querying is hard, and putting together a query letter is even harder. We want to help. Send us your query letter and first 3 pages to our email at twowritersinabar@gmail.com, and we'll read your query on air and give feedback on your first pages. And don't forget to tell us where we can find you on social media so we can share it with all our listeners. We want to help, inspire, and celebrate. Okay, you guys. So we have a fun guest with us today. You guys might remember that she sent in a query. Her name is Jessica Kaye, and she sent in a query, and we critiqued it on episode 8, I believe. It was part 2 of Stephen King's On Writing that we did. So welcome, Jessica.
So,
Yes, thank you for being here. So we have Jessica here today because after we critiqued her query, she got published. She got published, or she's already, yeah, you're already published.
yep, it just came
Yes.
out.
Yes.
It's the critique was very helpful to that last little step to send in that query.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're
That's so
so
cool.
glad, yes, that we were able to help you. That's so cool. So
Yeah.
congratulations. And like we always say here on the podcast, guys, we want to welcome anybody that has queried or sent in their query letter to come back if they get published or agented. So, just because we want to support you and Jessica, we want to support you. And I actually loved your story. It was probably one of my favorites. I
Uh,
love YA. I write YA, so I was right there with it. So I'm excited that you got it. You got it. So we're going to talk briefly to Jessica about her book and a little bit about her. So first of all, when we do our critiques, we always redact the title of the book. So go ahead and tell us the title of your book and what it's about.
it is called Beyond the Wall, and actually have it just came in the mail the other day.
Oh,
Oh my
shit.
gosh, that is
Jeez.
amazing.
Isn't
Oh
That's
my
it
awesome.
gosh.
beautiful?
That cover is just stunning. Absolutely
Isn't it?
stunning.
I
I
Oh
love
my
the
gosh.
colors.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Congratulations. Oh my gosh. So it's
thank
called Beyond the Wall, which was the same title that you had in the query. And like I said, we do redact it. So what, just as a refresher, they haven't gone and listened to our episode 8. What is your book about?
It is a fantasy adventure where Daxia, our main character, sets out on an epic quest. She's always planned her whole life to go on a quest someday. But when her sister falls ill with a deadly disease and the only cure is on the other side of the world, her timetable is sped up a little bit. One of the problems is she's sworn on her mother's deathbed that she wouldn't go this journey alone. And the only one who will go with her is this happy go lucky stranger with a passion for telling jokes. If they even survive, will they make it back in time to save her sister?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So
So cool.
I love that whole premise. I love the idea of her going on an adventure to help her sister because I lost my brother in 2021 and I swear I would have done anything and everything to have helped him. So I immediately connected to your story. So is your story, I mean, like why did you where did the idea come from?
You know what? I'm not sure.
Okay.
Studied. I started this story in 2010.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
The idea was there, just the basic premise. Daxi was there. Um, and I started it in 2010. I kind of wrote all of it and,
Okay.
sent it out to a couple friends and they all went, "No, it's okay, it's nice." And so I put it away. It
Oh,
needed
okay.
to sleep in a coma for a couple years.
Oh, no. Yes.
I wasn't able to do it justice
Mm,
yet. My craft was not at that um refinement that it needed to tell this story.
right. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
after, every couple years I'd bring it back out, look it over, and I guess it's a year or two now I got serious about it and took it back out and did CPR.
Oh, well, I love it, and I'm so glad
That's
that you
awesome.
did. Yes, it's incredible. So tell us about Daxia, and I forgive me, I forgot his name of her sidekick. I know it was in the query.
It wasn't
Or maybe it was. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I it's not in the first chapter, so I wasn't sure if I
Oh,
should mention it.
okay, okay. All right. So he kind of sounds like what is like the I don't know if you've seen The Watcher. Do you know the guy that plays the guitar? What do they call those back then? Ken?
Minstrel?
Yeah, minstrel.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
bard, yes, minstrel bard, yeah.
Yes. Like something like that, where they're like singing, but you say he likes to tell jokes. So I kind of feel like that kind of
Yeah,
a vibe, right? But this is young adult,
that kind of
guys.
vibe.
So tell
Nice.
us about Daxia. Tell us about Daxia.
Well, she lived in a world that only men go on quests.
Okay.
She's a go get 'em Spitfire adventurer who thinks she doesn't need anybody's help.
Oh gosh.
And she's got the skill. She's a great shot. She never ever gets lost, but she learned the rest from books.
Okay.
And she's got a desert to cross and sea to sail, and she all these things are trying to kill her, and she thinks she doesn't need any help. So she's got a lot to learn.
Hence why her mom's promise, don't go on your by yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
So
she's not afraid.
well,
She's
yeah, I
gonna do
mean,
it
she lost her mom, right? Because she made
in her
that
dad.
promise on her deathbed, and then she has a sister who could, who could be terminal, right? That she's trying to
Is
save. So she has that as well. So I immediately connect with that, and I'm sure a lot of readers will because I mean, any young adult reading this book, I feel like their fear would be losing a parent and maybe a sibling. So that immediately is going to connect the reader. So where can the your readers find your book? Like our listeners, like where can they find your book?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Um,
Okay.
uh, I have four books, two novellas and two novels, and they're all on Amazon. That's just the most convenient way to buy it.
Yes. Okay. But then they can do I believe it's digital and paperback, right?
Yes,
Okay.
digital and paperback.
Perfect. Yeah. So you guys, if you're interested in her story, please go grab a copy on
yeah,
Amazon or
check it out.
check it out. I know I want to because that cover is stunning and
Heck
the
yeah.
story sounds amazing.
Look
All
great
right.
on the bookshelf.
And if
Yes.
you do get a
Yes,
copy, please leave a review.
Oh,
for
yes.
sure.
Yes. Anyone listening, please. And as our most of our listeners are writers, and when you get published someday, you're going to understand how important it is to get reviews because I believe for Amazon, you have to get 50 before Amazon will kind of kick it out to their on their newsletter, right? I
I don't
believe
know the number, but it's something like that.
it's like something
Yeah,
like that. So really like, we don't want to rack up those reviews for Jessica. Okay. Well, if you're listening, please just,
absolutely.
buy a copy and then leave the review, of course. Where can we find you on social media? I know like you're on Instagram under,
On Instagram under Jessica Kaye author,
okay. Is that all
and
you have too? You don't have a
I have a
Twitter?
website.
Oh, that's right, the website.
Um, I have a website, jessicakaye.net.
And on the website, they can find
Links to all the books.
links to all her other books, you guys. And you write
Sweet.
primarily young adult, is that correct? Or
Yes.
so they're all young adult. Okay, perfect. I love that. I love young
I'm not
adults.
sure why. I just there's something about a person growing into this new world of theirs and how it changes as they grow and define themselves that I just always was attracted to, I guess.
I'm the same way. I write primarily young adults, so I'm right there with you. I think especially with today's youth, I feel like today's youth is doing a lot. And I've actually loved this newer generation. I have two teens at home and one young adult. And I love everything they stand for. They're just so they're really into connected into the social things that I as a teenager was not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which I love that. So, and I love young adult books, and I think sometimes too is just going back. I mean, I'm an adult reading young adult, but I just love those stories. I don't know why. I just they're so fun. Um, but yeah, so I'm right there with you. So you said you started the story in 2010. Now, and you've written other books. So, but
Yep.
did you start writing in 2010, or were you always a writer, like as a kid?
I I have always been a writer.
Oh my
Always.
goodness. Okay.
Even before I could write. Am I breaking up or are you breaking up?
Oh, I think we're good. Oh, are you
Okay.
there?
I think she was breaking up a little bit,
Okay.
and
Okay. Just
yeah.
checking. Before I could even write, I was writing. I was making picture books
Oh
and
my gosh.
actually, okay, my mom found one.
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Oh, I love
This was
it.
when I was 5. I could
Oh
spell
my
my name, but that
gosh.
was about it. And I was obsessed with the Wizard of Oz. So there was always a tomato,
Oh my god.
also known as
Right.
a tornado.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening and not watching on YouTube, she's holding up a book that she did when she was 5. It's really cute. If you want to see
Yeah.
what it looks like, go watch this episode on YouTube. It's really cute.
But after I learned how to write, I graduated to like a second or third grade, started writing little comic strips, and every report I was ever given, I would illustrate.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And
I
they're
love
really good when I wanted to find, but I couldn't find it. My mom has it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I mean, I didn't start writing until I was like way older, so I'm loving to hear that you just for as long as you can remember, you've been a writer. That's amazing,
And I
incredible.
started really writing things down when I was like 10.
Oh yeah, okay.
They
All
were
right.
terrible.
But you
I
know
was,
what? We all got to start somewhere.
yep.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's a lot of famous authors out there that started off with those stories and
Oh
then
no,
of course.
everybody starts off with those
Yes,
stories.
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
beauty about writing too, is like over time you can really hone your craft, you find your voice, and then you find, your like the genre that you want to write in.
Yep.
So I think that's great. I know
Yep.
I think you and I kind of started a little bit later,
Yeah.
a little bit later.
I probably started writing my first novel at like 27, and I only got like 3 or 4 pages in, and I didn't really pick it up till my late 30s. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't start writing until I was in my 20s. I had always been starting stories, but I never finished them until 2017. I too finished a book that had since shelved, and I really want to finish it. And I keep
Hmm.
going back to it, and I know that I just need to rewrite the whole thing because there's like no interiority.
Hmm.
First writer problems. That's fine.
yeah.
Yep. I understand.
Yes.
My I have two, again, two in the works, and the
Oh
one
my gosh.
after the next one I'm working on, like I have the characters and I have these certain situations, but it needs a plot.
Yes.
Yes.
And I've
Oh my
written
god.
the whole thing with this horrible plot. Somebody was like, "This is so boring," but the characters are good.
That is so funny because the plots always takes me the longest. I usually have the character and I have their problem, and then it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do with this? That's great. I love it. Okay, so Jessica, I know originally you were looking to be agented, right?
Mhm.
But you actually got published through an indie publisher that does that either accepts agented queries or unagented. Um
Yes.
so are you still planning on being agented, or do you think you're gonna
Probably not. I had
probably
a
not?
great experience with Stag Beetle Books. I was very happy.
Okay.
I'd love for them to look at my next work when it's ready. And actually, how I got into that was my book wasn't quite ready to query yet. I was just
Mhm.
working on it forever. And they held a first chapter contest. And
Oh.
it didn't have to be finished. Like the book didn't have to be finished. It was, and my book was written, needed some uh, plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And I submitted my first chapter. And the next day, I got an email from the founder, owner, editor. She's really good. And it said, "Hey, I really liked that chapter. This has nothing to do with the contest because I'm not the judge, but why don't you send in that novel during our open submission time?" And I was like, "It's not ready. You can't look at
Oh.
it. It's not there."
Yeah.
The first chapter was more refined than the rest of it. And
Yes.
then she was like, "You know what? Just send it anytime. It's now solicited." So it took me
Wow.
like several more months to get it to a point where I could send it to somebody. Um, but I needed that query letter when I did send it.
Oh, okay, I got
Really.
you. Oh,
Nice.
In
okay.
the contest, I got an honorable mention.
Oh, okay. But you got published though.
Yeah, and that was
So
Yeah.
the grand prize of the contest, is to submit
yes.
your of that manuscript.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's
That's so cool.
amazing. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, I love that. I love stories like that. I think it's great.
Yeah.
So um now what can readers expect? You've already have 4 books out, right?
Mhm.
And so are you more of a fantasy author with like heavy on romance? Because I know that Beyond the Wall originally, I don't know if it changed, but in the query, I believe it was like heavy on the romance.
They're all heavy on the romance.
Okay, so
I
you're a
can't
romance one.
resist. Can't resist. I've even
Fair enough.
tried to write a book with no romance. I'm like, no, this just isn't any fun.
Oh my
You got to
goodness.
put somebody in there.
All right. Well, if you're listening and you like fantasy and you like romance and the young adult, I mean, I
There you
think
go.
the good thing about the romance and young adult is you kind of like it's probably more fade to black and more flirty, right?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
imagine that.
uh mine's very clean. Like I
Yes.
wouldn't hesitate to give my 9-year-old my book.
Right. Right.
Nice.
Exactly. So yeah. So yeah, that's good because sometimes I wonder, is that necessary in a young adult book? The
Yeah.
graphic. I don't know.
Can I show you my other books real quick?
Yes, of course. Yes,
Uh
Yeah.
absolutely.
the first two are novellas, and I promise every book I write gets better with the next book.
Okay. Yes.
I still like these books, but I'm just like, why don't you start with the latest one?
I think every writer can relate to that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my first was a novella, a fairy tale retelling of the story of
Rapunzel.
Rapunzel.
Oh my
Nice.
goodness. I love it.
And
Oh,
then I don't know if you guys are familiar with parallel novels.
parallel?
Yeah, like I'll just tell you. Wrote one called Rapunzel's Prince,
Oh, okay.
which
Yes,
is
yes.
another
Okay.
novella, but it's the exact same story, same period of time from another character's point of view.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, okay.
As
Yeah.
in Rapunzel, the prince is there at the beginning, he's there at the end. What was he doing for the rest of the book? So I had
Yeah.
him go on this little adventure looking for her.
Oh, I love it. That's
Because
great.
I got
That's
the
nice.
idea from, I don't know if you guys read Orson Scott Card, the Ender's Game.
No, I don't think I have.
Science fiction. It's
Yeah.
really good, but there's a whole series called Ender's Game. It's about Ender, this kid. They even made a movie. Harrison Ford is in it. He's a child war prodigy. They
Oh,
want to
okay.
help kill the aliens. But this whole thing follows this kid through his life and adulthood. And the parallel series is called Ender's Shadow, which is the same story from another character's point of view. And then like you get kind of like backstory of things that Ender didn't know,
Oh.
and they go off different directions eventually. But I like the Shadow series a little more than the original, actually.
Oh, I see. So that's kind of where you got your
That's
idea
cool.
for the.
Yeah.
Ah, I love it.
My third novel is called Operatives Attract.
Hmm.
It's a secret operative romance.
So, but
Uh,
YA,
YA. They're all
YA.
YA.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
how do I start this? I have it in the back. Dean is an operative for the Overlord. Tara is the agent hunting him. In second period physics, they're lab partners.
Oh my gosh. I
That's
love it.
cool.
So
Oh, I
they
love
spend
it.
some time. Yeah, it
So
goes from
do they not know? Well, obviously
they do not
they
know
don't know. Oh my goodness. That
at first.
sounds so intriguing. That sounds great.
Yeah, I
Great
find writing
premise.
them.
Yeah.
Yes, great. That sounds amazing. Okay, so you said you mentioned briefly that you're working on the story. What can you tell us anything about what to expect in case this book gets picked up?
Next book I'm working on.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I know you can't say
It's
much, but
I can say some. I wrote a little bit down over here to remind me.
okay.
It's a science fiction young adult with a strong romantic element. I can't resist. Its code name is Gravity. Like I have a different title, but that's what I refer to it as. It's about, I wrote a note. It's about the captain and the pilot of a cargo vessel that has been sent to a war-torn planet to resupply them with a
Oh.
secret mission that they're also on. And they kind of hate each other at the beginning, but things change.
Oh my gosh, like an enemies to lovers type of trope? Is that the
Yeah.
trope maybe?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not enemies. Yeah, they're enemies.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, that's a fantastic trope. That's one of my favorites.
yes, thank you.
I mean, there's nothing better than enemies to lovers, seeing all of that and then have them come together is fantastic. I mean, who doesn't love that? So on this new book, are you thinking that it might be coming out at the end of the year, maybe next year?
I have
Okay.
no idea.
Alrighty. Okay. So
Fair enough.
Um,
since you
maybe
sold.
give me 2 years because
Okay.
life happens. Life
Oh,
is happening.
yes.
For
Yes,
sure.
we know all about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Life, work, family, everything.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica, we're so glad that you were able to come here to talk about your book. We're so glad that we helped just a tiny bit, but never take full, But I mean, we did help a little tiny bit, and I'm just congratulations on your new book. I look forward to seeing the next one, hearing the next one. We'll definitely have you back.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, you're gonna be like a regular now. You're gonna be like a regular author.
Sure. Just have to write faster now.
Yes, yes. And
Yes.
if you guys are listening, go to her website, check it out, check out her books, pick up any there you find them all on Amazon.
Yeah.
Follow her on Instagram.
Yeah.
And is there
It's
anything
Jessica
else?
Kaye
Okay,
.net is my
JessicaKaye.net. The
yeah.
perfect.
Awesome.
Is there anything else that you want to add? Or anything you want to say about your
Hmm.
book or your journey? Or other authors listening, like, maybe a message of encouragement?
The I mentioned how I like to write my whole life. Just you gotta get the story out. I actually went to art school after high school, and my major was illustration, which
Okay.
is an image that's telling a story. Just
Yes.
Yep.
everything is stories. It's how we learn. It's just get it out there, put it on the paper, and then fix it. You're not going to fix it in your head.
Yes. Just
Absolutely.
keep writing, don't give up.
I think I've done 19 drafts of Beyond the Wall.
19
And when I
drafts.
do a draft, it's like a huge change. Then I'll save it as another draft, like a
Right.
kill off a character change or add a big scene.
So one more question. I know this wasn't on the list, but are you a plotter or a pantser?
Pantser.
You are.
I cannot. I cannot. I
Welcome
try
to the club. Bring
so
it.
hard.
Welcome to the club. Get out of
I
here, plotter.
I'm a
I
plotter all the way through. I love
and
it.
like if I need to organize my thoughts, I'll like attempt to make like a timeline, but then it kind of goes, oh, well, this moves, no. And then I kind of abandon it and then I make like a character outline. Yeah, I'll come back to that later. And wait, what was that person's name? I had to go through the whole book.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Total cancer. I don't write in order. That's middle scene, maybe the beginning,
Really?
maybe the end, maybe more of the end. Maybe I have to link them together somehow after that.
Wow, that is so interesting. So, but you know the ending though when you start the story? Like, do you know or you don't know? Because Ken never knows what his ending is
I
in
have
the
no
story.
freaking idea
Yeah.
where it's going.
Mine are always happily ever afters.
Okay.
Mm.
Mhm.
So
Well, yeah,
yeah,
you have to for a romance. Yeah.
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 I did get mad and kill off a main character the other day and rewrote
Oh
it.
no.
Somebody mad who read it, but it was just me
Uh,
throwing a fit.
uh,
But yeah, they're always
It
happily ever
happens.
afters. Um,
oh
and
my
I
gosh.
usually know about what's going to happen
Yeah.
besides them together.
Right. Yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
you have to have it for a romance for sure. I think you would upset a lot of readers if you'd given
Oh
that
yeah, if you
happily ever
ended
after.
on a horrible ending in a romance, people be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, they're gonna
You know?
probably be like, I don't want to read that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what's funny with Opera to Detract? When I first wrote it, okay, my first idea was, I don't know if I should say this. Kind of a spoiler.
Oh.
Anyway, life was gonna turn on its head and end like that.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I don't. That's too strong for me. There was something about it that was too strong.
Yeah.
So I just made it happily ever after. They kissed in the end, and people were like, "What? what was that?"
Really?
So I did add a little twist to the ending
Okay.
to that, and I think I love the ending now. It leaves room for another book, which is probably 3 or 4 books away if I decide to do that.
Yeah. But it's
There you go.
satisfying though.
I thought it was satisfying.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think that's great. Well, congratulations again, Jessica. Thank you so much for being
Absolutely.
here. We appreciate you trusting us to begin with, and we look forward to your career as a writer, a published writer. That's so exciting.
That's
It
so
was
cool.
great to meet you guys in face to face.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you have a good night.
You too.
We'll keep in touch
Take
on
care.
Instagrams. I know we follow each other.
Great. You
All
guys
right.
take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Night.
That's it for today's episode, friends. We hope you learned something new today. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. Our YouTube episodes will upload on Thursdays, the day after the show airs, if you want to watch. And if you want your query letter in first 3 pages critiqued and read on air by us, send them to our email at twowritersinabar@gmail.com. Put query on air in the subject line. We will read them on a first come, first served basis. Remember, we are here to help, inspire, and celebrate. Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast is produced by Brava Media Group.